Obviously, the Element Mystic fans are here today. Talon Esports as the non-Korean team walking into this arena today. They know they're up against a team on their home ground. And speaking of home ground, starting out on Busan, of course, as well. So Element Mystic getting those advantages, maybe.
Yeah, I couldn't have scripted it better myself. And look, we kind of know what we're expecting meta-wise out of both of these teams. Questions all getting answered pretty quickly, you know, who plays what role. Both teams looking to just roll out Merit.
And Element Mystic, again, big favorites here. Sparkle, eyes on him. He's the big player on this team. Comp-wise, this is absolutely what we're expecting. We're playing a lot of Sigma, playing a lot of Rarissa, very similar to what we saw in the Overwatch League playoffs. Every single team here has definitely studied that.
Seoul representative of the Pacific region, second place representative of the Korean region, who themselves won the Pacific Showdown. They kind of get a little bit of that re-entry into one another.
A lot of this game is going to be coming down to Patapan versus Sparkle in a lot of ways. Reapers on the flanks, first brawl about to commence.
Just having a scrap. Patapan feeling the heat though as Sparkle takes a bout, goes for a round. No one down just yet.
Talon attempting to push in early. You saw Muse already use the Fortify there. A lot of defensive abilities.
Both the accretion and the Halt rather on cooldown for Element Mystic. That's an opportunity for Talon, and they pounce on it. Alpha's down. You mentioned Sparkle low, he's kept alive, but while he's been keeping himself alive, the rest of the team's getting cut to bits, and now he himself down, and Talon tearing through Element Mystic.
And already you have to respect the squad. Talon Esports coming in, first fight win, just being very cautious about how Element Mystic wants to approach this one, allowing themselves to give away a little bit of space, but as Ian pushed forward, they're able to punish, get themselves the first couple of kills, Sparkle among those, and then Talon Esports roll through.
And they're looking pretty comfortable. This is incredible that Patapan is doubling Sparkle's ultimate charge now, and is already looking to use that cooldown. Coalescence is out as well, slam dunks down, looking to find someone. Doesn't quite catch someone against the wall, but Element Mystic are split here. This is a little uncomfortable.
They're about to be pushing forward, and Hummer gets two here. Doe does lose his Dead Blossom.
But I tell you what, it didn't matter in the end, and Sparkle, who did eventually get that Meteor Strike available, does end up pulling something off with it, so Talon going to lose control of the point with only about a third of the progress required.
And it was a decent initiation from Talon Esports. You could see them pushing Element Mystic into the corner. Ian respecting the space there as well, just pulling back a little bit, seeing what Talon are going to be able to do, forcing out the Meteor Strike early as well, and then they pushed in. Han then gets two, and Talon Esports, unfortunately, are going to be pushed backwards.
They do have some pretty useful ultimates coming up and available now, though, as Talon come in for the next time around.
Oh,
Sparkle,
wow!
Brilliant accretion, knocking down Sparkle. It does not take him long to die up. That now Death Blossom out. At least takes out the supercharger. Sound barriers all blown to bits across the board, and with all ultimates on the table, it looks like Talon is starting to pull out ahead of this one. Better yet, they're actually doing so, maintaining an ultimate advantage. They've not used half as much as Element Mystic here.
They need a few more kills though, because Ian are about to reinforce. Sparkle's alive again, and that's dangerous. That means the kill potential is there. With Doa down though, that's another DPS threat gone, and Talon Esports can maintain hold of the point.
Patapan maybe eyes a little bit bigger than his stomach there. Oh, that's dangerous. He was looking for an extra exit kill that was unnecessary. Talon worked hard to get control of that point, and they might just lose it straight away here.
They worked hard just to equalize the control score so far. They're about 50% now. But here comes Element Mystic. They've already used the supercharger.
Quick, smart with that one. Sparkle trying to make the most of that. Flux, ooh, a little bit awkward there from Gora. Talon not quite down and out of this one yet. As that Death Blossom comes through from Doha, it gets less than nothing done, and it ends up being that DPS duo on Element Mystic going down. Talon just kind of steered through the storm there.
And they did not lose the point. We were thinking, okay, it's about 43% each. Talon reaching about 50. EM come in with a player advantage. Patapan is still respawning. This is the opportunity, and once more, Doa doesn't get a lot out of the Death Blossom. Talon rebuff him, they repel that attack, and they maintain their members, and they maintain the point. They are well into the lead now.
Eyes on the Coalescences, though. MCD will have that Mango Jai still a ways away. May get it later in the fight, but it means there is a window.
And I'm looking at Bashful as well, because he needs to be able to do a lot.
1 for 1, though. Patapan finding MCD is big. That takes that Coalescence off the table. Supercharger from Muse as well. Give them legs.
Here we go.
Look at that. Patapan and Bashful, the dynamic duo, the 1-2 punch, as it were. And Sparkle is going to have to try and recover this one desperately. There are some low health bars in his sides, but he is the lowest of them all. Talon are going to draw first blood.
And this is going to be a 100 to 43%, a huge round and a huge beginning for this underdog team. If you weren't sure who they were, you're about to learn their names. That was impressive.
I gotta say, man, this would be an upset. It wouldn't be the most unprecedented upset. Look, Talon are a strong team. The caliber of play is there. If nothing else, this at least illustrates that. But this is still an early shakeup.
It certainly is, and for a side like Element Mystic as well, this is going to be a learning process. Okay, just feeling out the waters, dipping your feet into that water right now, checking that temperature. How are we feeling about this?
Water's on a different team.
It's true, we'll get to them later. But on this particular matchup so far, okay, Element Mystic are discovering Talon Esports, and you have to respect them at least a little bit. They give away one round, but the map is not yet over. EM can still come back with 2 more.
All right, I don't think this is just going to be a teleport play by the looks of things. The Stoha's going to go back over to the Reaper. Talon didn't do that, so Element Mystic should be first to play here. They're actually not though.
Slightly slow start for Doha on our last run. I am looking at him a little bit harder this time to see what he will do. Early rotation EM. Want to potentially look to get on the point or get onto the opposite high ground.
It's looking like opposite high ground is what's on the menu. Both teams just going to have a bit of a pitched battle about things.
Point unlocks in about 2 seconds, so somebody's got to make a move, and Talon will be the ones going first.
Element Mystic now going to look to collapse down from the Catapan, winding that one up, doesn't quite get a connection, but Talon have already made a lot of progress on the point. Element Mystic kind of on the back foot, you already see Doha have the Wraith walk out. Sparkle getting hard pressure. Catapan himself is low, but Talon are coming out the better of this. They actually complete the point cap despite the fight not even being finished yet.
The Coalescence are about to come through. It's going to be MCD first, Mango Jar to follow afterwards.
That was a big early pickup, getting Gagora out of the mix.
Oh,
Catapan's looking to turn that one right back around, pay it back double. Without Alpha and Sparkle, Element Mystic are going to have a hard time enabling Doha as the sole DPS. I think Element Mystic have to let this point go.
And what did Element Mystic say again? What was his best achievement being a national team member? Panapan, look, if you weren't considering this guy before, he is a real threat on this team, and EM are feeling that one. Sparkle goes down first against Panapan. That's him on your screen now, and Panapan is controlling the pace of this game, and EM, they're just playing in Talon's game at the moment.
I wish I could be half the man that Panapan is, or at least half the DPS.
I'm almost double his age.
I'm a support main, so I can't claim those shots. But at any rate, here's the man himself. Again, Meteor Strike, looking for maybe something in the back line. Wants to go right down on top, finds Alpha! That's a big Death Blossom, though. A lot of damage being dealt in Talon. I think they have to accept that this one is done. So Element Mystic did have to use a lot of cooldowns for that fight, though.
This time around, Alpha traded for Panapan. Wouldn't take that one if I was Talon. You want Patty to still be in this lineup. You're not happy enough just getting that one kill. And Element Mystic pouncing. They find the punish there. Easily get a Doomfist when he's coming down from the Meteor Strike, and the rest of EM just pounce on top of them. Get that collapse. They finally get this cap, but they are at a deficit.
Now Element Mystic getting a little bit more comfortable. They're taking out the supercharger, but Catapan's found his counterpart in Sparkle. That sound barrier gives Element Mystic some nice legs, but
Sparkle down!
Yeah, it's Talon's turn. That's the thing. It's still a 6 versus 5, and Talon are getting those cooldowns available. Death Blossom immediately pops out for 5 Stoha as well. Talon are going to reclaim this point, with Element Mystic only getting about half of Talon's current percentage.
Now I'm expecting Talon Esports to push this one to the 99% overtime, and EM are probably just still sticking at 31 here. Can EM still turn this around? Absolutely. But so far, when it's come down to Sparkle versus Panapan, Panapan's been winning almost every time.
Not a lot in the tank though for Talon, at least for a few seconds. There is a window with a supercharger to do a lot of work for Element Mystic. They recognize that window very easily.
Spot though.
Bashful's trying to take it out. They are going to be able to do that now as Panapan looks to get the thick of things. Doesn't get anything straight out the gate. They need to be careful. Oh, wait, finds Doha. That's a big pick up. And now again, Element Mystic, they're in that 5 versus 6. But like you said, the flux seems to be enough to give them more mileage. MCD's Coalescence a little bit after Mango Giants means they still have healing, still have damage in this one. It's still trades, but it's looking like Sparkle is finally going to come out the better end of those trades.
And at the end of the day, Talon Esports will get their 99%. It's still not quite over yet. There are still members alive here. Talon Esports are still interested in defending, waiting for respawns.
Oh, they're going to make them work for it. They're going to make them blow cooldowns. That being said, CQB committing the sound barrier was maybe done with a little bit too much gusto.
Would have liked to see a little bit more discipline there. You've already reached the overtime. Perhaps give this one away. Get that respawn wave, get that next push inwards, and use the sound barrier now for this retake. Unique's about to have his own, and you want to be able to compete because we are looking at ultimates and Element Mystic. They may be only slightly ahead in one department, but I'm also looking at using the supercharger.
Catapan already taken some chunks on the approach to this fight. Talon now going to pitch themselves on the point. Element Mystic are going to have to answer that. That's not very taking a long time.
The ults are coming up.
That's nice, getting rid of the supercharger early. Talon are having to dig deeper than that now.
And he's going in.
Cooldowns, Unique low, ready Sparkle as well. As some ultimates getting committed. Hanbin super low. The Coalescence can't quite rescue him, but Panapan traded out. That is a big pickup for Element Mystic, who are still looking to equalize. A lot of members getting low on Element Mystic, though. Seems like it takes so long for them to go down, but I tell you, Bashful, his aim is very true here.
And that's the thing, because Dola's down, but Bashful is still alive, so we're looking at the DPSs, but the opposite ones. With Alpha down to Muse, this is still winnable for Talon.
Just as Hanbin finally came back in as well, and also Alpha just had that ultimate, that supercharger come up and available. Talon, they're sticking in the fight, proving they've got the longevity, keeping the guns trained on Element Mystic, and I think that's got to be it, right? That's got to happen.
This might be map 1 over already. Element Mystic do not have the members. Hanbin stunned up and dead. That Alpha can't do much with a supercharger.
That's a heartbreaker supercharger is what it is. Just the man himself, a lone tank, benefiting from it, and Talon still have more in the pocket as the Coalescence. They'd even have more after that if they needed it, but they do not. Talon, I said they drew first blood in the map. They drew first blood in the series.
You got to get that checklist out now, put the first tick in the box, because for Talon Esports, to make this upset happen, got to get 3. 1 is already on the board. We talked about that opening round. Was that a bit of a fluke? Was that kind of just, okay, Element Mystic testing out their opponents a little bit, maybe just feeling out their strength? Well, turns out they're pretty damn strong because they're 1 down now in the series, and Talon take the lead.
Well, he might not be on the starting lineup for now. Could come in the second map, you never know. But I feel like Apudo was maybe right when he was talking before the match. Element Mystic, today's going to be that day. They're going to have to shape it up now.
And if I could just sort of look at the Element Mystic members right now and think, okay, what emote am I looking at here? It's a lot of question marks. What's going on here? You got the Nick Cannon what face going on because they probably did not expect to already be dropping a map. And can I also tell you, if this was happening at Pacific Showdown, I don't see Element Mystic dropping the same map because that was a very different Talon Esports back in that particular tournament. But here at the Gauntlet, this is the best Talon Esports that we've seen so far all year.
I think what's so incredible about this is it feels like Talon have significantly upskilled in that interim, but so have Element Mystic, and yet here we are. It's Element Mystic who are the ones who suddenly have to answer back.
Yeah. Look at the team as well, same members roughly. MCD is the only new member on this team being swapped in for Undine. So far, not looking great for them. Not a great start.
I want to draw a little bit of attention, just while we've got a moment, to the tank lineups of these two teams. We didn't necessarily have questions coming into this, but there is still that idea of, okay, who's actually going to be the better of the two? There's a particular role I want to highlight. That is Muse to Alpha. I got to say, Muse felt like he was just having that little bit more of an effect.
We'll see if they get more and more heading into the future series as well, because so far it's been pretty hot on the Giga Arena stage. Talon 1 up.
See if Element Mystic can answer that one back right after this break.
Talon is Asia Pacific team. I think Talon can win this tournament. We need to work harder than other teams because we're not stronger than other teams, but I think we can beat them.
And he may just prove to be right there, the young man of Pudo. Yeah, they've got to work harder, but they can beat them. They've already proved that in their very first map of their very first match.
And I think drawing first blood is so important up against such a strong team, such a storied team like Element Mystic. You know these guys are in some cases defending Showdown champions, right? As well as, you know, Fusion University who aren't here. So really, when you look at that, it's just Element Mystic who are defending a title from Showdown earlier this year. And being one up so far just tells you that Talon have the capability. It tells the team themselves, the players themselves, that we have the capability to do this again.
I think it also speaks to just what the overall level of this tournament is going to be, especially for a team like Element Mystic that comes in with an amount of favoritism behind them, in as much as we talk so much about those regions with only one team and so on and so forth, but like, you can't discount those teams. It's not just you versus the other Korean teams. Everyone else is here to play, and they can and will beat you if you slip.
And I'll tell you what, Element Mystic probably didn't think they would be picking a map today as the first map loser here, but King's Row will be up next. It is their choice. This is where they'll be taking us. And I do think, okay, when we start to look at this one, is there the possibility of other types of strategies coming through? Are we going to see the introduction of Mei being brought in for this particular map? Stuff like that. Point A opens up possibilities for Far as well.
You also consider, will there be any substitutions? It doesn't appear to be the case as of yet. Of course, there is an extra DPS on both sides of things, and it's interesting you mentioned the name because, hey, that's what Apudo's known for in some capacity.
And I think when you look at the talent side of things, the other member here that we have to look at is Bash, because he is known for that power, and there is a possibility, I'm saying, it's on the field as we're about to hit into map 2 for King's Row. There you go. Straight away, one map in, they take it.
Look at
you
that.
know what? The Korean fans are turned. They're saying, actually, I kind of like this team. They're not doing too bad here.
They've already got a few converts to the side of Talon here. You've got to be impressed by that.
And I think you look at the other 3 Korean members on this team as well. It's a half Korean team, and for a lot of this team's life as well, when they started out in Contenders in the Pacific region, they were, of course, a full Korean roster. So they are they have some roots in this country. They have some roots in this arena.
I mean, Coach Legday himself being Korean.
Yeah, he was on Mighty AOD back in the Apex era, one of the most legendary teams and legendary groups as well. There's so much Apex bloodline in this particular game.
You wouldn't have expected it in many ways, but I mean, it's kind of how it is, right? It's like on St. Patrick's Day, everyone's Irish ancestry suddenly appears. You get to the Giga Arena and everyone's talking Apex. But in all seriousness, now 1-0 up for Talon. We talk about that legacy. We talk about what this could mean for these two teams in the immediate context and in the broader context. And, well, time to shape up Element Mystic.
No real surprise in some cases. Both the core DPSs are starting on the Doomfist again. A little bit of context with Patapan did 11,000 damage last map. Sparkle, 8,900.
Lordy. Saw Hardman briefly hovering Diva. I don't know how serious that was, but Talon defending first. Element Mystic just slowly sizing them up. Doha trying to go for a flank here, gets a little bit pained. Sparkle trying to follow it up as well. This is not as clean as Element Mystic want. No one dies. They back up for another
big
round.
entry.
Very clean, and also the early coalescence from MCD. That is the pain being brought, and with that one, Element Mystic are off to the start they need. Already a third on the point. Should be looking to close this fight out soon.
Patapan's trying to make some work happen here, though. He's got 2 members down, including the Sparkle again. And if he can get another one, Talon can still come back.
Oh, ducking and weaving, but just ends up in the line of fire for a fraction of a second too long. And for a second there, you did believe that Patapan could do it again, just put the team on his back like he somehow seems to do. But it is going to be Element Mystic steering true and getting that control of the points.
And it's such a big heavyweight bout as well. And you look at a man like Spark and say, okay, he is the one that has all the championship belts on his waist as the biggest fighter here, the heaviest fighter here, the strongest fighter here with that punch. But Patapan, he's that contender. He's coming up. He's punching above his weight right now, and you gotta say, once more, Patapan has had a lot of kills onto Sparkle, but Sparkle was the one that opened up that fight for Element Mystic by putting Talon on the back foot.
It's like a heavyweight welterweight. I guess that's what we're going for here.
Patapan had the game so far, not this time though.
Yeah, down and out for the count in just one bout. So with that, Talon sorely on the back foot here. Is Element Mystic going to be happy to be able to preserve his cooldowns, actually committing a Death Blossom just to ensure extra space.
That's actually going to be a kill that is going to be something that Element Mystic do have to wait for a little bit. We'll give Talon the opportunity to regroup here for an eventual defense on the B point. But so far, tempo is in the hands of Element Mystic. They capped A fairly comfortably, walked onto B, and there hasn't been a real contest yet.
Talon do have a good chunk of ultimates coming up as well. They themselves were able to preserve some. I doubt the Death Blossom itself will be the difference maker, but certainly both of these teams are going to come in all guns blazing for this fight. Early supercharge down from Alpha getting picked off is critical. That's one ultimate that Talon could match with, and now they are taking a bit too much heat. The sound barrier from CQB did not get violent, and a huge, absolutely monumental gravitic flux. Everyone comes crashing down to earth, snap back to reality, and, well, Talon loses point B.
Humber's looking for some damage this time around. He got, what, 4 kills at least in there. Element Mystic now comfortably getting onto C, still waiting for Talon Esports to really make that response happen. At what point are they going to really dig in their heels and look for this fight? They finally do have ultimate advantage, and I'm expecting them to use this.
It's been a long time for Muse to get the supercharger available. Gravitic flux as well from Ghidorah. That's going to be Hunman down early, but they're really trying to get the pressure onto Patapan. He slips out just quickly enough and is able to take Alpha with him, but Talon have kind of lost the most critical members they needed to make this defense work. It feels like they got a little bit out-rotated over the course of that fight.
You're now starting to see another case as well, where Element Mystic are finding these early picks and Patapan is not able to respond anymore, and for the rest of Talon Esports, they're going down very quickly. Bashful's trying this, or Patapan's not trying to get something done to Widowmaker from spawn, but Element Mystic are not stopping. This is still a 1-in-10 push all the way from A.
They've at least got that supercharger down. They try and get that Death Blossom from the backside, but it gets bumped away now. MCD can help the team recover with this Coalescence. Sparkle already starts fetching the pain back out. Talon have effectively been reeling since losing point A, and that is frankly not stopped. Element Mystic, with their foot on the gas, are going to absolutely mow down Talon.
Well, this is where Element Mystic are fighting back in a big, big way. Yes, they took a bit of a beating in that first map, beat the count, went to the corner, got themselves cut straight back in now.
All right, you go out there
for
and
the
you get the fight of your
round.
life.
They certainly will.
Don't let them rattle you.
You're a champ, kid. This is now
You're
where,
born to be the champ.
which is true, because again, they're defending showdown champions. They got a lot to prove. They got a lot to defend here. They've proven a lot. They lost to Runaway in the regular season. They're saying, look, that's probably a bit of a fluke here. We're going to come back and try and get this whole thing. Let's take a look at this play again. Hanbin should be...
this was close, man.
This was that massive
This was the
4K
one. This was absolutely beautiful. And I mean, really, it's just the enablement.
By the way, okay, it was actually a 5K. So by the way, CQB had just finished using the sound barrier there, which kind of opened up the rest of this team. And for Talon Esports, the reason why you saw the sound barrier at that particular moment was because Ghidorah was about to go down. I was watching his HP, he was nearly dead. CQB saves him, and we were expecting, okay, is a flux going to come through from Ghidorah because you're saving your tank member so they can survive and use their ultimate to be a part of this team. But for Element Mystic as well, they saw the opening, they saw the guard get lowered just a little bit, and the uppercut came through.
I also want to touch on this because I mentioned it after the first map, Muse versus Alpha. Look, Talon did still do a good job of keeping a lid on Alpha this time, shutting down supercharges, forcing out halts where they couldn't get much done. But on the other side of that, whereas last map Muse really showed up, on King's Row here, Muse was all but invisible. He got one supercharger all map, and he didn't even get to place it down.
You're going to need to see a monstrous attack now for Talon Esports, opening with a potential headshot from Patapan, not to be today. For context, he was a very impressive Widowmaker player from the Pacific region in a historical kind of context here, but not quite the kind of pick you want to see in the middle.
I assume he still is a great Widowmaker player, but at any rate, on the Doom Fist, it's Hanbin already getting the opening kill here.
No response from Talon so far. They can't get a kill.
Patapan's in a bit of hot water. Not going to be able to get out
down.
of that water either. Now Muse as well. Talon were trying to go into full retreat here, but just Element Mystic seeing opportunities, pouncing on that. Talon not getting out quickly, and CQB is the only member who survives.
This is going to be a difficult now attack for Talon Esports to be able to match the overall time bank of Element Mystic. You see that 421 on there. You know that Talon Esports kind of need a one attempt push through the entire map to match that. They're already down one fight, and they're also going to be down ultimates going to the next one.
If nothing else, you want to at least get the time back to show that you can have a better defense than what they had first time around. Patapan getting hosed down here. Needs to go dry himself off. Bashful's going to get picked off, and Mango tried to match the beam battle. It may have given Patapan just enough room to start getting to work, but these tanks are still under so much fire from Talon. They have yet to be enabled in their own right.
Both meteor strikes into play now, potentially both getting aggressive. That one, Patapan actually plays it quite safe.
Sparkle comes crashing down, finds one, and again, Patapan trades it back. Muse going down again without using a supercharger. They decided weren't going to be able to do it. If they can respawn quickly enough, though, they can get back in before MCD is here.
This time they do get all the exit frags as well. No one makes it safely back into spawn. And you have to start wondering, Talon Esports, they are losing members reasonably early. Patapan can get the counter trade, but you have to start thinking, what if they didn't lose Bash for the start, and you do have Patapan getting that first kill? That's 6v5. That's a player advantage for Talon Esports, but they keep losing members too fast.
Double superchargers, they've got to make this one count. Alpha's one is already down, so again, oh, there it is. They finally get some work done. Muse's supercharger goes down after Sparkle has already died. So, Talon getting the upper hand in this one. Element Mystic haven't bled too much yet. They could still come back in.
A big ultimate loss, though, is going to be unique Sound Barrier there because he isn't able to catch notably Sparkle, who went very deep in the back line. Sound Barrier hit 4 members there, couldn't quite connect with the 2 members that ended up going down. And Talon off the back of this will eventually get his cap, but they are hurting for time in the overall context of what time bank has been set by EM.
That being said, Element Mystic decided, no, we don't want to go back in for a fight on the point. We'll take one under the archway instead. If nothing else, they can get some more cooldowns out of Talon. And those cooldowns, those ultimates, are all Talon have to try and get momentum on their side.
We're in very quickly here. Kagoro is starting out with the flux.
Oh, dear.
Get a kill.
That's Patapan already down to his counterparts. Now the rest of Talon really struggling here, not getting much out of that gravitic flux early, I think was a bad sign. That's to say nothing of Patapan dying, of course, and now Talon find themselves in full retreat, having only just really broken past that first point to get on the point and capture the payload.
Back to the boxing analogies here, Pixie, because we do see Talon Esports up against the ropes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for them, they just can't quite get out of the spawn. We're in the archway now. Element Mystic are just keeping tabs on this entire section. Patapan is able to get a bit of a flank going here, but the rest of Talon, they need to find a way to move forward.
Feels like Doha is aware of this. He's on a Patapan hunt. That actually removes some members from the fight itself. Patapan can re-enter it a lot more quickly than Doha can. That being said, Sparkle trying to get in the thick of things. Bashful as well. Now Patapan answering down, but again, Hanbun's gravitic flux just gets some work done. Muse so close to a supercharger. Mango Jai, this ultimate does give Talon more legs here.
Yeah, well, the position does favor Talon here as well. You can see them pushing through.
There they
Mango's
go.
On the hunt.
They've finally managed to make that break happen. Have to move back to keep the payload moving, but hey, they've got the space for that to happen now.
And they needed to be able to push through this narrow chokeway as well. You see Element Mystic kind of splitting up their members, a lot of them backing out, backing around the corner. A couple members still on the high ground in a different area. Now Talon have the momentum and they're looking for the cap.
Element Mystic have the ultimates though. They've got far more at their disposal than what Talon do. So again, we're looking at superchargers.
Both sides.
And for Element Mystic, it's a supercharger plus. Nice stun on Doha. Just delays that for a hot second. But Muse has already lost the superchargers. Now it comes in. The Coalescence, the Death Blossom, the damage is just insurmountable. And it feels like the first supercharger for Alpha that is high impact enables so much for this team.
It's a 3-hit combination there coming through from Element Mystic. The first one is going to be the fact that, okay, they take down Muse's supercharger, but they maintain their own. The second, Doa gets in with the Death Blossom. The third, the fact that the Hulk comes in as well to lock everyone from Talon up. That is a Death Blossom comboed up with the supercharger, and all of Talon get caught inside.
That being said, all of Talon can start having their ultimates up on rotation for this next fight. We need to start seeing more out of Gogora with those gravitic fluxes, though. Has not had the same impact in that regard as Hanbin. But honestly, this Coalescence from Mango Jai has already done so much damage. Unique down despite that sound barrier still actually being active on a lot of those members, and Talon have just kind of broken through this one. Better yet, they did so with Element Mystic still using a lot of their ultimates.
Yep. You better believe Talon need the momentum right now because they've got to cap off this, which they will do. But going on to C, they're going to have 2 minutes something to work with. The time bank is already not going to be very impressive. Another 130 being added on there adds to 240 overall.
Every bit helps.
And it is. It's certainly going to happen. You're already about to see them have half the time at EM.
And now they need to do what EM was able to do on the C point. They need to get a good early fight, get that high momentum, and just keep Element Mystic on the back foot. If they can accomplish that, they can at least hit that time bank respectively. Nice catch.
Nice counterpunch from Pan. 2 up so far for Talon, make it 3.
Yeah, that's how you do it, and that's 1 ultimate apiece there. That's good high value CQB sound barrier to MCD's Coalescence, so Talon preserving a lot of those ultimates.
You also, again, once more, you have to be able to respect the discipline from a team like Talon. Just back out. We're losing a lot of HP here. Gogoro's in trouble. Let Element Mystic come in and see who oversteps. Punish that member. Get yourself a couple of kills, and now suddenly we're on the roll again. Very important for Talon to get this cap now to take us to the time back.
And they could just do it in one fight if they played this. Oh, brilliant pick off. Pan sees that one coming, reads it like a book. Talon just blowing through all those cooldowns. They know that they kind of can. Here's Supercharger still around the payload as well. I think that might just be it.
Respawns, Pixie. This is going to be really difficult for EM.
Element Mystic are never going to be able to mount any members on this payload. They've done it. They've done it critically with enough time that time back could still be equalized if Talon can now also get a better defense.
And this is far closer to the matchup I was expecting compared to the one we got on Busan. Am I happy to see the one we got in Busan? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Underdog team, getting a map of a championship winning team is always fun to watch, no matter who's playing. But currently, you see the difference in the time bank here. Does Talon have the capability to finish the map against a squad like EM? They do. Is it going to be comparable for time bank? Sadly not. But this is probably the matchup on paper that you have to be looking at when you come into this match.
And here's the thing. I mean, I feel like those numbers create like a very very, how do I put this? Accurate, proportionate capability between these two teams, right? In as much as you expect Element Mystic to have a good time and a bigger time, but you expect Talon to have an opportunity, a possibility. Well, and we've seen what they can do with an opportunity. Now we get to ask it again. Is this enough opportunity for them to turn things back around?
And the question for me has always been, are Talon competitive enough to match a team like EM? Can they actually show up today? So far they have. Yeah, they got the map. They also got that full cap. I think a lot of teams probably would not have completed the map versus Element Mystic, especially the non-Korean teams that we have in the tournament. So already Talon Esports are really showing the capability.
Talon still in that underdog position. It's starting to show that they can go toe-to-toe, not just with, you know, fresh out the gate Element Mystic, but also that slightly hotter Element Mystic after dropping that first match. The Element Mystic that has something more to prove now.
I will say Element Mystic did defend quite well on A. If that happens again, Talon Esports are not going to make it through the map a second time.
Pan just looking to get in, create some chaos, maybe picking on Doha a little there. So you can find
on Unique.
He's made it happen. Muse, though, that's a big one. Pan as well, stunned out, but they take a breather, they back off, and no one goes down. Now Mango Jai for the first time leads his counterpart, gets that Coalescence, a good quarter charge ahead of MCD, and off the back of that, Talon are going to have a much better offense than they did in regular time.
Guess what? Question answered. What happens when Talon Esports can secure the opening pack, Pan gets the punch in, and they're not the ones losing a member first. It's not them recovering. It's not Pan trying to catch up. It's Talon maintaining and pushing a lead, and they get that cap. This has been so much better than what they did on their initial A attack in regulation time.
Credit where it's due. Element Mystic have something to work with coming into this. They got Meteor Strike, they've got Coalescence, they should well have a Gravitic Flux, and actually that's maybe the more key one because that has where we've seen Hanbin be a difference maker compared to Gogoro.
Yeah, it's going to be Alpha and Hanbin again, comboing up the Halt into Flux or Flux into Halt. Sparkle has his ultimate here is on the Meteor Strike. He can play quite aggressive.
Talon don't want to lose this fight realistically because they might just not get back on the payload if they do. This is critical! That's a big pick right out the gate. Hanbin down as well, just shy of that Gravitic Flux, and here we go. Talon now, as we approach the overtime, do so off the back of a fight win, preserving ultimates, preserving momentum. Now they need to set a big distance.
Both the Doomfist here, the heavyweights, punch for punch, You've heard of Rumble in the jungle, you heard of Manila through Manila, but now you're gonna have to hear about Doom in the Room, because both these players right now are just doing so much work for the teams, and Patapan has been showing up in most cases above Sparkle.
See, throughout all that, my brain was going, what rhymes with London? Where's he going with this? But yeah, right, I think that's a fair way to go. At any rate, Talon now with a lot of green lights on the board, looking to just get right to the thick of it. Nice bomb, what? Are you kidding me? Hanbin dooms himself. That is absolutely unbelievable.
Unreal. Bashful again getting so many kills here in this particular fight, and we're in overtime, which means slow respawns for Element Mystic. Talon now have secured B, and this is what is required for them to be able to win in time back, because they are at a big deficit in terms of overall time. So the fact they even get B here means 421 for EM. That's a defendable defense for Talon later on.
Don't believe the hype, but again, this is where we're into predictable territory. When they were here last, they won a fight, they used that momentum. That's a bit of an awkward supercharge. That's going to go down fast, but finding Patapan out Bashful as well without those DPSs and without a big Gravitic clutch from Gagora. Talon aren't quite going to be able to replicate that success from their original push, rather. They will get stopped short here. They're not quite going to get that crazy time back cap, but you got to say, that distance with only 130 to start with is monumental.
I think they're pleased with that, because just getting B here and a little bit of progress onto C, every single meter counts, every single foot counts in this particular situation, because we are expecting Element Mystic to be able to get through A again,
certainly
get on to B. It is going to be very possible. They also kept B with the amount of time they have. So Talon, they've set themselves up for a potential corner hold here. So again, also important the fact that they got the card even this far, because this is technically defendable for a defending team on C, as long as we can really drag that timer down.
That's going to be the real critical thing, because at the end of the day, look, Talon have now stepped up their game, you know, from half to half, or I suppose from standard type to time bank, in terms of their offense. But it was their defense that was the bigger problem in standard time. They let it go very early on A, really just one fight, and they actually didn't get a good fight after that point. They were just permanently on the back foot. If they can just get one or two better defenses, that's how you run down the clock. That's how you get to that one fight territory where they create a winnable situation for themselves.
Talon definitely need a solid defense here at multiple points throughout the map, because one small Element Mystic, right, they had that one attempt through all the way from start to finish. They never really lost a fight. There are a few skirmishes in there where they lost a few members, maybe overstepped here and there, but they maintained tempo the whole way through, and that's what got them such an excellent time back to begin with.
Now let's see if Talon can once again get that first blow, get that first punch in as Patapan fishes forward, knocks off Alpha. He's going to just dance back out. Don't quite get it, but it's good pressure on EM. Now it's EM's turn to go around.
Noah felt that fist fly past his face, and Sparkle felt it in his face.
Yeah, it's a nice stop up on Sparkle, but Bashful down early. Patapan feeling the heat, and Talon is slowly but surely getting chipped backwards. Element Mystic easily replicating their success. It's just one fight. Talon get that initial little push in. Element Mystic deal with it fine, and their push back just flattens Talon.
And as expected, Element Mystic are very good on this offense so far, as we saw on regulation time. One attempt. This was even faster, I would say, than what we saw during their regulation attack onto A. So unfortunately for Talon Esports, they're going to have to do a lot better on B now, because 3:30 is still a lot of time for EM to get through.
And unlike EM in this position in time bank, Talon don't have that many ultimates here. They are still going to take this arch defense as one should, but they're really sore in terms of cooldowns, especially that sound barrier so far away for CQB.
They got to attempt this. They got to try and bleed as much time off as possible. Sparkle looking for opportunity.
Both teams just taking the beam battle with the coalescences. Hey, that's the double break chain, but Sparkle's the one who went forward with it. That puts him in the line of fire. That's an opening for Talon, and Talon are going to kick down that door, barge on into your living room, and send you to bed with no dinner.
And they're required to win at least one fight on defense here. They need to win a couple more, but you win one, that forces a reset on the attacking team. EM now have to regroup. They have to readdress what ultimates they have versus what Talon have, and this is just going to be another full reset fight where Element Mystic, this is about nearly a minute lost.
Talon a little bit closer to some of those ultimates as well. In fact, both teams should be relatively even in this. The only difference is Mango Jai a bit ahead, but that might not mean much in this fight. Hanbin drops Gagora down. Patapan needs to make something happen here. Deep into the backlines of Element Mystic, who are all sound barriered up and safe. Bashful, nothing done with that Death Blossom. So Element Mystic going to wrest control back of the cart, and that's only with 2 ultimates.
And that's Giga down, even though CQB used the sound barrier, and we needed to see Giga survive that because he himself does have a flux. So if Talon Esports can get the counter attack through, they really needed to utilize those ultimates. Bashful sadly could not get enough damage done on the Death Blossom, which Doha has managed to maintain.
But again, the name of the game here for Talon is slow down. If they can still just stop up this payload a bit more, even just force fights, run that clock down to 0, then win a fight. That's what you're after. We also saw Doha setting up for a flank with a Death Blossom. He's in the backside now. Goes for Mango Giant, finds him. That's nice and big. Patapan finds himself shot in the back. Big slam dunks down across the board for Element Mystic as it all lands like a charm. And now Talon are in a very tight spot.
Perfect approach there for Doha. Finds the back line, gets Mango Giant mid-coalescence, shutting down that ultimate. Now, one more push could do it. 125 still required to defend, and Talon are respawning there. Not quite at the corner yet, but the cart nearly is.
They got to get there. They've got at least a supercharger, coming a little bit close on some stuff, but even then it feels like a big gulp. This is mostly going to be a fight about fragging out. Supercharger down. Nice catch on Alpha.
That's required. That's good.
Out. This is maybe the one here. Patapan, no, goes down. Bashful, nearly the same, but they find Doha. It is scrappy and sloppy, but with only 2 supports, Element Mystic do have to back off.
And you have to get excited now because this could be anyone's game. Because Element Mystic lost that particular fight and they're forced to reset, MCD taking a chunk of damage as well here.
Yep.
There's less than 1 minute, 45 seconds remaining. Could be last fight territory.
Yeah, it honestly feels that way. One fight either way, right? And look, Patapan, Meteor Strike, Sparkle, no sunshine. Huge! Absolutely massive! Finds Bashful as well. And just when you need the man to deliver, knock, knock, open up the door. It's real. That's going to be it. Element Mystic off the back of that one. Surely CQB trying to drag it back from the brink, but no dice. Element Mystic pay that one back after losing the first map, but you got to say that was harder than it needed to be.
Fight referees now scoring that one 10-9 in favor of Element Mystic. Look, it's now going to be a round given, a map given over, but it was hard for, this was a tough bout for this particular team. Time bank acquired, and down to the last 45 second, one fight territory for both teams. You really got to believe Talon still had an opportunity there, and EM are still sweating.
And the thing that is still incredible to me is that turnaround. Look, EM looked about the same from half to half there, from regulation time to time bank. Talon, regulation time, very rough on the defense, fine enough on the offense, better again on the offense in time bank, better again on the defense in time bank. If that's going to be this team's trajectory, yeah, they lost this one, but if you're Element Mystic, you're still sweating as we come into the other maps.
Absolutely. Talon Esports only got the 2 defensive fight wins there. Element Mystic overall on the attack, like you mentioned, just so much better. They had it locked down, but it wasn't comfortable. It should be comfortable. You are the Showdown champions. You are the Season 1 Contenders champions of Korea, 2nd place runner-up in Season 2. This is Talon Esports from the Pacific region. You didn't think they were much, but you got to think something now.
And you got to consider what this is going to mean for Escort, where that first point is also not a factor. That's where a lot of the time difference was made. But it's not Escort yet. It will be Assault. That is going to be coming up after this break. See you on the other side.